Good day, everyone, and welcome to today's community session, Skills for Girls, Girl-Centered Solutions for Empowerment. How are we feeling today? I'm Sophia Alexander, a young feminist activist from the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago. Today, I'm here representing the United Nations Girls Education Initiative, as well as my own initiative, Caribbean Feminist. For this session, I will be your moderator, guiding you through this exciting conversation. Now, before we begin, please note the child safeguarding information in the chat box below. The reason why we're sending this information is to ensure that this meeting is a safe space for everyone involved in today's conversation. I hope you've been enjoying the forum so far. Today's Skills for Girls session will highlight innovations that enable girl-empowered skills, building initiatives that put girls' voices in all their diversity at the center of solutions for transformative impact that advances their agency, voice, and leadership. Today's conversation is going to be split up into segments that reflect the framework of the conference. These segments are the world of the girl, the world around the girl, and the world at large. For each segment, a few of our panelists will be sharing on how their work aligns with these themes. Now, I know throughout the session, you may have a few burning questions that you want to ask some of our speakers today, and I'm encouraging you to ask them. This is such an invaluable opportunity to directly interact with pioneers in the field of technology, sustainability, and education. So don't let it pass you by. If you're joining us via Zoom, please feel free to put your questions in the chat and our speakers will respond to you there. This event is broadcast on Zoom in English with simultaneous interpretation available in French. Please select the version appropriate for you in the translation menu at the bottom of the screen. In addition, cart translation will also be provided during this event from English to English, French, Spanish, Russian, Arabic, and Chinese. You can view captions in English by clicking on the closed caption button in the control bar at the bottom of the screen, and you can view automatic translations in a separate window using the link posted in the chat. And that's to ensure that everyone can gain as much value as possible from today's conversation. We have an amazing lineup of speakers today, from software engineers to corporate trailblazers. To learn even more about today's lineup, we've provided you with this QR code, where you can access a digital program with even more info about our amazing panelists and how you can connect with their work even after today's session. Finally, throughout this conversation, you may notice that some of these speakers look a lot younger in their headshots. The reason why we did that is to hone in on the message that these speakers were once children themselves. We want you to look at all that they've accomplished and understand that every child and every girl has the potential to achieve this and much, much more. Without further ado, we're going to head right into our agenda for today. To start today's discussion, Dr. Lauren Rumble, Associate Director for the Gender Equality Program Division at UNICEF, will be delivering today's opening remarks. Lauren is the Associate Director of Gender Equality in the Program Division at UNICEF. She is passionate about using evidence to influence policy and leverage greater investments for women and girls. As an experienced feminist, she enjoys the challenge of creating lasting solutions across teams to translate powerful ideas into practical action. I will now invite Dr. Lauren Rumble to make her remarks.
Thank you so much, Sapphire. I'm delighted to join you and a circle of global feminists, young and older, in today's event. A special shout out to everyone who's organized this event, in my team, Joylyn, Emily, Sagri, and many, many others in our partnerships team, including Sarah. Just a huge thank you and gratitude for all the work that you do. So let me just start with this number, 600 million. That number is the largest ever global number of adolescent girls, and we would argue the largest ever cohort of girl leaders, innovators, change makers, and entrepreneurs. Our challenge, however, is that we've yet to fully tap their potential. We know that the future workforce is projected to focus on STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and social entrepreneurship. But options remain limited or non-existent for girls, especially adolescent girls, to excel in these fields. Discrimination and stereotypes are holding them back. Even when girls have opportunities to learn, these are stifled as they try to overcome norms about childcare, marriage, and girls' role in society, appropriate jobs for them, as other people think. Even if they do make it to the workplace, they're at greater risk of discrimination, harassment, and dropout. Too few girls are scientists, engineers, innovators, even though they might be the outstanding performers academically when they're at school. I'm really excited about our growing global partnership with governments and businesses to address this gap. In over 20 countries, we're advancing girl-centered skills programs with and for adolescent girls called the Skills4Girls initiative. The initiative has three components based on evidence about how girls learn best. First, we position girls as key architects in designing the curriculum and delivery of the skill programs they participate in. Second, the curriculum on skills includes girl-focused skills for the future, such as STEM, digital, transferable skills, and social entrepreneurship. In doing so, we aim to help girls reach economic independence and professional and personal empowerment. Third, and finally, we link girls with other opportunities, like mentors, peer networks, job shadowing. Building skills alone is not enough to change the trajectory of girls' lives. Girls must also have the power and agency to put those skills to use. We need to work with our partners to unlock opportunities for young women and girls in male-dominated fields and promote safe and accessible environments to do so. Today, I'm really thrilled to hear from Jordan, Niger, and Kyrgyzstan, where girls and young women have already been at the center of their own solutions in such programs. In Kyrgyzstan, girls are discovering STEM fields through professional orientation, internships, and female mentoring. In Niger, girls are engaged in skills training and mentorship opportunities to support employment pathways tailored to their own specific needs and environment. And in Jordan, young women are accessing digital skills training, apprenticeships, and microemployment through an online platform that's functioned throughout COVID. We're also going to hear from our partners about what these investments mean to them and why they're putting themselves forward to advance this agenda. Today, we stand with girls to transform their lives, supporting them to design the solutions they find most meaningful and to partner with the world around them to influence systems at large in a way that is going to transform the 21st century workforce for equality and prosperity. Just last week, I came back from Afghanistan, where I spoke with girls who face incredible pressures and are increasingly isolated from school and work opportunities. But no matter who I spoke to, each and every one of them was resilient and hopeful. And their top wish was to learn and contribute to their societies. We must do everything we can to realize these hopes in every country where we're working. I'm now going to screen a video montage prepared by Louise, who is Girl Lab's teen advisor and the founder of Accente Meninas, advocating for gender equality in Brazil. Excited to hear from her.
As human beings, learning is our birthright. However, millions of girls have been denied of it, especially those who live in rural or poor households. This situation prevents us from being free. And one of the ways that we can change that is by providing girls with opportunities for them to develop skills that are pivotal, not for the future, but for today. We, as girls, want to learn about science, technology, or any other skill that will help us reach our economic empowerment. But we also want to be seen and heard while we are learning such abilities. Programs that need to have, more than ever, an intersectional approach. And we want opportunities where we can put these skills into practice. Because I'm sure that with this, Marys, Fernandas, Imenes, and every girl across the world will reach their full potential. They will become scientists, politicians, businesswomen, leaders. They will finally be able to be the protagonists of their own lives.
Thank you so much to Lauren for such incredible opening remarks. And thank you so much to Louise for that video. We'll actually be hearing from Louise later on in the program. Since we're all gathered in the digital space, let's start there. Our next panelists are speaking about the world of the girl. Sally Tariq Amus is a DevOps engineer at Tahama in Jordan. She was the youngest operations manager appointed at Verona Collection, after which she followed her passion into software development. Sally is a young woman in a male-dominated field and believes that her career is proof that all girls can succeed in science, technology, engineering, and math. Our next panelist, Pamela A. Malinga, is based in Kenya as the head of Impact at Girl Effect, an organization that believes that when one girl finds the power to make different choices that change her life, it inspires others to do so too. Pamela ensures a grounded focus on evidence to action, guiding teams around the world, promoting cross-country learning, and ensuring that results and learnings are meaningfully communicated within Girl Effect and the wider sector. We're going to start with Sally. Sally, as a young woman in a male-dominated field, what can you tell us about breaking gender stereotypes?
First of all, thank you, Sapphire, for such a lovely introduction. As Sapphire mentioned, my name is Sally. I'm 25, and I'm currently a DevOps engineer at Tega. And I feel like the best way to answer your question right now is just to tell you a little bit about my personal experiences. So whenever I started, I never actually did start with tech, but I always had an interest with tech. So when my journey began, I started off as a marketing major, and I worked and I climbed the corporate ladder till I reached the level of an operations and account manager. But then the pandemic hit and I lost my job. And during that job search, I found that there was a huge demand for tech professionals and a lack of positions that I could fill with my current skill set. So this motivated me to go back to my passions, tech. And thanks to a scholarship that I received by UNICEF, it allowed me to take part in a 6-month intensive software development bootcamp, which was the starting point of my career in tech. Mind you, while studying in this bootcamp, a lot of people tried to discourage me from continuing the course under the premise of purely, I'm a female trying to enter a male-dominated sector. But this time around, I wanted to see it through. I wanted to see what I can do in tech. And I constantly felt like I had a point to prove, so I worked very, very hard during that course. And I graduated with excellent grades, which led to a job teaching the same course I graduated from. So that on its own kind of gave me a validation like, yeah, a lot of people tried to stop me, but I'm doing it. I'm capable of doing it. And this was such a great opportunity for me because I continued to learn and improve my skill set in tech while also supporting new students and other females through their learning journey. And then it came to the point where I heard of a DevOps engineer position at Tega, and I decided to apply. Again, there was more blockers. When I applied, a lot of my colleagues at the time and people I knew gave me this constant feedback of, well, this is a man's job, quote unquote, and it's not very suited or good for a woman to pursue this career. And why? Just purely purely because they saw that this position requires a lot of work, demanding hours, or because you will be the only girl in the field, or you'll have to constantly keep up with the boys. And it was very demotivating, to be honest. But at that time, I was like, no, I need to continue. I need to, regardless of the self-doubt that created in me, it did not stop me. I still wanted to show everyone that being a woman does not make me any less competent. And I will not allow anyone to limit me or tell me what I'm capable of doing. And it's a good thing I stood my ground because I was capable of reaching my goal. I got the job and I work in an amazing environment right now that's very supportive. And I feel like because of the constant support that I get, I feel like I owe a lot of what I was able to achieve and where I am now to the people that support me. So with that being said, I feel like it's my turn to also normalize women in tech and women in STEM fields in general. And I would like to also be a supportive voice to any female trying to pursue a career in STEM field. So just to reiterate, just because they say you can't does not make it a fact, and you can do it as long as you believe in yourself.
Thank you so much, Sally. That is such a strong and inspiring message that you've given us today. I'm sure you've incited a lot of hope in so many young people here today. So I'm now going to transition over to our next speaker, Pamela. Pamela, as the global head of impact at Girl Effect, what can you tell us about the importance of engaging girls meaningfully to develop their own solutions and skills building approaches?
I just want to say thanks again to Sally. It truly is an inspiring story, and just hearing about her jump from marketing to tech just really gives me all the feels. So, in terms of investing in engaging girls meaningfully and to develop their own solutions and skill building approaches, at Girl Effect, we're developing various tech platforms, chatbots, shows, TV, dramas, and we're really trying to focus on creating content to help girls define what they have been told is not possible for a girl. We've built a behavioral change model and theory of change that focuses on moving beyond just inspiring a girl, but transmitting content that builds that individual girl's motivation and ability, influencing her identity and being able to help her move beyond just inspiration to actions that help her kind of develop her own future. One of the kind of unique platforms that Girl Effect has developed, I think is very much aligned with centering girls, is the Tega Network. And the Tega Network stands for Technology Enabled Girl Ambassadors, utilizes a methodology where we have a bespoke mobile technology platform utilized by networks of certified young female researchers conducting peer-to-peer research. We've trained over 450 young female researchers in 7 countries. They've conducted 25,000 plus interviews. And with this peer-to-peer research model, facilitates a two-way communication between adolescent girls, unlocking open and honest conversations that might otherwise be lost or not included in traditional research, and helps to ensure that the work Girl Effect does is based on real insight, real need, and real evidence stemming directly from girls themselves. The training approach includes, how to be tech smart, interviewing skills, money management, but really just kind of employing girls, again, with the tools that they need to determine their own futures. In the coming year, we're going to be applying this methodology to work in partnership with UNICEF, as we're an active member of the Tech and Innovation Action Coalition, part of the Generation Equality Forum, and this is Girls in Mobile 2.0. So recognizing this massive gap in our understanding of adolescent girls and the realities of girls, especially throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, we're going to go utilize the Tega Network, apply peer-to-peer research, and hopefully, again, build insights that allow not just Girl Effect, but others within the community of practice to develop technology solutions that are truly founded in the needs, desires, wants, and gaps that adolescent girls are facing. And just as a researcher myself, just kind of seeing this transition in my own career of adults speaking to adolescent girls, the kind of blockages that puts up and how open and honest that a girl can be, and having that peer-to-peer communication just gives so much insight, just really allows us and others to just develop things that were beyond our imagination just years ago.
Thank you so much, Pamela. It is always so exciting to hear about the work that Girl Effect is doing. The next panelists are speaking with us about the world around the girl. Our first panelist, Medina Samakbeva, is the co-founder and director of TechAim Public Foundation and a chemistry teacher at the Technical School of Innovation of AUCA in Kyrgyzstan. Accompanying her is Marissa Soretsky, Director of Corporate Sustainability at Pandora. Based in Denmark, she drives the development and implementation of Pandora's global sustainability strategy, covering the company's full value chain. This includes setting ambitious climate and energy, human rights, responsible sourcing, and product circularity targets, and overseeing the programs, projects, and relevant teams designed to achieve them. We're going to start off with you, Medina. Medina, what can you tell us about the opportunities that girls have to practice skills and promote the transition from learning to earning?
Thank you for a very good introduction. I'm going to say that thanks to Girls in Science project of UNICEF, in our country, we have realized different kind of activities which support skills. First, it's introduction girls into the STEM. So we have worked with girls in explaining which STEM-related professions are available now, and also what kind of skills they need to develop. And we also tried to show role models. And also in our country, it was mentorship program where role models in STEM-related spheres worked with adolescent girls. And myself, I also was a mentor. I had 15 mentees. We have worked for 1 year. It was really good experience, and I've learned so much from them. and they learned probably also. We visited different kind of industrial examples, and they also introduced by different job opportunities and skills. And also last time we are working with teachers community, because I'm a chemistry teacher. I also try to share with my experience in making chemistry easy, fun, interesting. So my colleagues from college and I, we are working on working with teachers, introducing them STEM methodology, interactive teaching, and of course, genderly sensitive pedagogy, because it's really important in our country. And we know that school not only gives us knowledge, and also gives us whole understanding of the world. So we try to put girls' role in the right way, that girls also can be a scientist, and they also can be entrepreneur, and so girls also can be change makers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Medina, for such an incredible contribution. We're now going to pass over to Marissa. Marissa, as Director of Corporate Sustainability at Pandora, what is Pandora doing to support the next generation of girls? And how can business play a critical role in enabling an environment that empowers young innovators, entrepreneurs, and tech trailblazers?
Well, thank you, first of all, Sapphire, for the warm welcome. Pandora is raising funds through product sales for UNICEF to support young voices. By combining our strengths between Pandora and UNICEF, we're really working together to impact and empower the next generation. And our main goal is to support children and young people's right to voice their passions and dreams, and to help them build a brighter future. We do this by funding learning and skills development, rights awareness, and gender equality activities. So I'm sure many of you know, but the world is home to almost 2 billion young people, and they have the potential to change the world for the better. But without the right resources and opportunity, these achievements will remain a distant dream for the vast majority of them, and especially young girls. Every day, unequal gender norms result in girls disproportionately losing out on education opportunities due to poverty, child marriage, pregnancy, and poor infrastructure. Girls' education goes beyond ensuring that girls are just sitting in the classroom. It means that they can also learn and feel safe in the world, that they can complete all levels of education, learn the skills that they need to succeed in the workforce, and also raise their voices in a changing world, in a vulnerable, fragile world. So therefore, many of the programs that Pandora supports are designed to help the development of skills for life and livelihood, and to support young people, especially girls, to positively engage with their local communities and develop them as change makers. And in terms of how business can help young people, by partnering with UNICEF, we really feel that companies like Pandora can broaden the organization's reach and impact, and help encourage the development of change makers that we need to lead us forward in this really fragile world that I spoke of. Collaborative efforts are key in many aspects of business, but it also goes for sustainable development and community work. The business community needs to work together with key enablers such as UNICEF and really invest in the future, and that includes tomorrow's youth. As a business which is constantly needing to innovate and think in new ways to be relevant and to succeed, for us, it's really inspiring to see UNICEF thinking about education in new ways. So breaking through traditional learning models and proposing something different, investing in 21st century skills and programs that will support skills development, social innovation, and entrepreneurship. For us, that really speaks to us as a business, and it's something that we can definitely get on board with. So we know that children with an education can expect to earn almost twice as much as those without one. So we all have an important role to play, but especially business in enabling this for as many children as possible.
Thank you so much, Marissa, for such an incredible contribution. It is so refreshing to hear about the way that Pandora is working to build a brighter future for young people everywhere. Now we have a real treat for our next segment. We want to hear from you, the audience. Throughout these contributions, we've seen pictures of our speakers in their youth, and we'd like you to reflect on a time when you were around that age and what you hoped your future would look like. So we have a question. When you were 10 years old, what did you want to be when you grew up? If you're joining us via Zoom, now is your chance to leave those responses in the question box below. I remember when I was 10, it was so difficult for me to decide what I wanted to do. I played around with the idea of maybe being an architect, maybe being a lawyer, maybe being a veterinarian. And it wasn't until later that I decided that I wanted to pursue a career in STEM, in computer science more specifically. So back to the question, please make sure to send your responses in the chat box below if you're joining us via Zoom. When you were 10 years old, what did you want to be when you grew up? Seeing some responses. Hopefully we'll get a few more. Feel free to continue sending those, but right now we're going to transition into our next segment. So as we transition to our next segment, the world at large, don't fret, you can still send in your responses. We'll get back to them in just a little bit. Now, our next panelists are putting the girl and the world around her into the context of the world at large. Our first speaker, Samu Musa Mohammed, is based in Niger as an activist, blogger, and owner of Zamani Now, a blog through which she participates in the emancipation of Nigerian women to become more resilient. Through her blog, Samu contributes to the awareness of young people towards an entrepreneurial awakening, responsible citizenship, and social commitment. Now a note, Samu will be speaking in French, so simultaneous interpretation will be available to you in French. Please select the version appropriate for you in the translation menu at the bottom of the screen to ensure that you can gain the most information possible from her contribution. We don't want to leave anyone out, so make sure that that is turned on so you can gain value from that. Our next speaker is Rini Seesby. Rini Seesby has been a counselor at the Permanent Mission of Denmark to the United Nations in New York since July of 2019. After holding various positions in the Danish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in the Office of EU Relations, the Office of Development Policy, and at the Danish Embassy in Stockholm. She is a Danish national and is married with 2 children aged 5 and 3. Now we're going to start off with Samu. Samu, what motivated you to start your blog? And as an activist and blogger, how does amplifying girls' voices help to promote their participation in society? Over to you, Samu.
D'accord. Parlons d'abord de mon blog qui est Zamani. Zamani, c'est un terme Hausa qui veut dire la génération de maintenant. Et le now, au fait, c'est juste le maintenant, quoi. En un mot, génération Zamani now est née à partir d'une passion d'écrire et d'une volonté d'aider. Militant toujours pour la cause de la jeune fille et de la femme, le blog est devenu pour moi un moyen légal et, comment on dit, un moyen légal et légitime pour moi de pouvoir parler. Et là, ça me réussit. Dans mes débuts et jusqu'à maintenant, j'ai la chance de trouver autour de moi un soutien et des conseils qui me permettent d'avancer. Et cela me permet aussi, dès que je publie un article, que les amis qui sont autour le partagent de façon vite et j'arrive à faire entendre ma voix. Et ensemble, nous essayons de faire changer les mentalités. Il faut savoir qu'au Niger, le nombre de blogueurs se compte au bout du doigt. Mais néanmoins, avec les filles qu'on partage la même idéologie, nous essayons de dire aux jeunes que le blog est aussi un moyen pour eux de se faire entendre et partager ses idées. Nous menons un combat pour nos filles, pour les sœurs et les jeunes. J'avoue qu'être une fille, ce n'est pas du tout facile parce que dans les circonstances de mon combat, il faut se battre toujours contre des préjugés des gens qui sont là à dire que la place de la femme et de la fille ne se trouve seulement qu'à la maison. Donc, de partant de ça, j'arrive à vraiment me fortifier parce que comment on dit, entre une interview qui est mal, qui s'accorde pas, ou une porte qui se ferme, j'arrive quand même néanmoins à tenir solide sur la terre et faire en sorte que mon combat soit louable et dire aux gens que j'ai ma place aussi dans la société. Actuellement, je suis point focal de YouReport. J'ai trouvé dans ce programme la solution pour faire entendre nos voix et faire agir. Et nous, comme on dit l'adage, comme l'adage dit, c'est que seul on va loin, seul on va vite, mais ensemble on va loin. Donc, YouReport est une plateforme d'engagement de jeunes qui crée autour de ces jeunes une synergie, qu'importe leur différence. Vraiment, YouReport est là et ça donne accès aux jeunes filles et aux jeunes garçons de pouvoir librement dire leurs problèmes. Et partant de ça, elles peuvent être entendues dans les instances de prise de décision et qui les concernent et défendront ensemble vraiment ce qui leur tient à cœur. Voilà un peu J'en ai fini.
Thank you so much, Salwu. A quick reminder before we transition to our next speaker, to our panelists, to please feel free to reference the questions in the chat to respond to our lovely participants today. So make sure you check those out. And now we transition to Rini. Rini, during your introduction, we showed a picture of you at around age 2 or 3. Can you tell us a bit more about the story behind this image?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to attend today's meeting. It's such a great pleasure to be here and to hear all these inspiring stories and other speakers. So thank you very much. And I think it's a wonderful idea, by the way, to have these pictures of us as children. The picture of me was taken on Christmas Eve in New Delhi in India. Probably in 1987 or 88. And I was so fortunate to spend my childhood growing up in India and in sub-Saharan Africa. And in fact, I would like to start with an anecdote from my time in sub-Saharan Africa. My story is about Joanna, a young, loving and hardworking woman who worked for my family. And while doing so, she was able to save up enough money to buy a plot of land and a house. And shortly after, Joanna also got married. Legally, when a woman got married, her possessions became her husband's property. So this meant that the plot of land and the house that Joanna had bought now belonged to her husband. And not too long after, her husband sadly passed away. And again, legally, all of his possessions were inherited by his brother, including Joanna's property and her house. So Joanna was now left without a husband and no possessions. I was probably around 12 years old, and I remember this sort of as my first encounter with societal gender inequality. This was many years ago, but the gender inequality that existed then still persists today in most, if not all, societies globally. So the anecdote I just shared is for me a clear example of the great importance of ensuring equal rights for women and girls and empowering them to take charge of their own lives. Ensuring gender equality is a long-standing priority for Denmark. Across the globe, particularly in Africa, Denmark continues to invest in projects and programs that aim to empower women and girls and advance their rights and gender equality. Together with the international community, national education systems, the private sector, civil society, local communities, and probably most importantly, girls themselves, Denmark works to develop projects and programs that aim to empower girls and ensure their meaningful participation in society. But why is gender equality so important? I mean, for one, there's the obvious normative or moral reason, but a study from McKinsey also found that global GDP could grow by 12 trillion US dollars simply by advancing women's equality. So take my own country as an example, Denmark. We would never have been able to achieve the level of prosperity that we have without including women and girls in the workforce and ensuring girls equal access to education. So ensuring girls' rights and equal participation is not only the right thing to do, but it's also the smart thing to do. And that's why the work that UNICEF does, including the Skills4Girls initiative, is just so important. Because empowering women and girls today is empowering the entrepreneurs, innovators, and change makers of tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rini, for such an incredible message. I know that a lot of the youth in the chat today joining us via Zoom and via live stream have been really reinvigorated and inspired by your contribution. Now, a little bit earlier, we asked you, the audience, when you were 10 years old, what did you want to be when you grew up? And now we're ready to hear some of your responses. So I'm in the chat right now. I'm looking at some of the responses. I see that Rithvik says that he wanted to be a singer. Amelie says that she wanted to be the person filming Our Planet on BBC. That's a really exciting one. Pamela Malingo, one of our speakers, wanted to be a veterinarian or a weather woman. Lucia Zeron wanted to become a journalist. Sally Tariq Moose, one of our earlier speakers, wanted to be a dancer. Oh, this is incredible. Let's see. Salmu wanted to be a doctor. Kaya Miller wanted to be an author. That is incredible. Emily Reese Smith wanted to be a fast jet pilot. Ooh, I like that one. Isabel Fair wanted to be a teacher. Oh, I'm seeing someone said that they wanted to be the president of their country. I love that one. That's Joy Lynn. Hi, Joy. And I'm also seeing Aliala, another singer, another dancer. All right, this is incredible. Scott wanted to be an astronaut. Oh my goodness, these are such incredible careers. Thank you so much, everyone, for sending in these contributions. Our next speaker is Iqbal Hussain, an education specialist at UNICEF in Bangladesh. His expertise lies from early childhood development and primary education to secondary education, with a special focus on gender transformative and inclusive skill-based education and alternative learning pathways for young people. Now, Iqbal, can you tell us about how you engage adolescents in skill-based learning in Bangladesh and how that informs your approach to program development? Over to you, Iqbal.
Thank you, Safar. So just quickly, I will take through a journey that we have done in Bangladesh, especially for the most marginalized adolescent girls who are out of school. You know that in Bangladesh, around 40% adolescent, secondary school age adolescent girls are not going to school, and their opportunity for any type of alternative learning was really limited. And there were some initiative by different programs, but the engagement of young people, the girls, were not much there. So what we did initially to understand the challenge, the kids, so we started to work with girls, and not only just as a consultation, but how to engage them in the process to identify the barrier, the challenge, and then come up with their own solutions based on the particular community. And that actually came up with a lot of issues that is not traditionally we have in our system and structure. Then we realized that we need to create something new. And definitely for that, we have to engage with the parents, the communities, the local government structure, the social structure, and we started to do that. And then we came up with a 6-month skill program with an informal apprenticeship that completely community grown and designed, co-created by girls and the programmer, and realized that within very few months, we have come up with a 6-month program that came up with 96% graduate from that program linked directly with the job. 62% of them delayed their marriage till 18 years. Then their nutritional intake, the food intake was increased so much. And we realized that this type of intervention is really changing the path, the dream of the, especially the young girls who were in that marginalized communities. And through the evidence generation process, when we realized that it's really impacting on girls, that gradually, the impacting or influencing the national program. And at the end, we found that it is identified as one of the global solution for most marginalized young people by the GNU thing. So that's the journey that what we did. Maybe it's a long journey, but it designed and came up from the girls. And so it clicks well, it give a good results. And now we are trying to make this program not only by co-created and engaged by girls, but also owned by them. And sometimes we want to ensure that they are also taking the accountability of their community to ensure that not a single girl are dropping out from the system, somehow learning skills and getting the job. So that's the story in short. Thank you, Safar.
Thank you so much, Iqbal. And it is so incredible to hear about your initiative in Bangladesh and how you're meaningfully engaging young girls in that process. It is so, so incredible. I encourage you all to follow up on Iqbal's work even after today's session. Now we're going to hear from Chloe's Chief Sustainability Officer on their Girls Forward initiative and why more businesses should see women as key change makers and partner with UNICEF to promote adolescent girls' skills building and empowerment.
Hello everyone. At Chloe, we have a purpose guiding all we do. Women forward for a fairer future. Research has shown that women are excellent change makers when it comes to building a fairer future, both environmentally and socially. And to achieve that, girls' education is of course a key priority. We won't achieve any change at scale without educating girls and providing them with the opportunities to find jobs and build their own livelihood. That's why Chloe is extremely proud to support UNICEF Gender Thematic Fund, supporting the most cutting-edge programs that aim at providing girls in and out of school with a wider world of opportunities wherever they are. Our work together, our Girls Forward partnership, will contribute to UNICEF's goal of reaching 6.5 million adolescent girls with skills to advance in the workplace. In March, we launched a capsule collection for International Women's Day, made in partnership with social enterprise working towards uplifting women. This approach is key for us. We work with women and for women. The impact we aim goes both ways. In December, we also launched a capsule collection celebrated UNICEF's 75th birthday, first collection designed by Gabriella Hurst. On both projects, 100% of revenues are directed towards UNICEF. Our partnership towards equal opportunities, of course, echoes the story of our founder, Gabi Aguillon. In 1952, she founded Chloe, and she's known to have said, "To all women, I always say you must dare." Today, after an unprecedented crisis, our values and vision remains more relevant than ever. 1 in 3 girls of secondary school age is not enrolled in secondary school. Join us to support gender equality program. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Chloe for their support. How is everybody feeling? How are we feeling so far about the forum? You can send it really quickly in the chat right now. How are we feeling? How are we doing? What are the vibes? So I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is that we've had the opportunity to learn so much throughout today's session. But I know I've learned so much, but the bad news though is that our session is almost over. In our moment, we'll be passing over to Luis, a 17-year-old activist and UNICEF tech trailblazer from Brazil, to deliver our closing remarks. Luis is a Girl Up teen advisor and the founder of Oxente Meninas, a group that advocates for gender equality in Salvador, Brazil. As a UNICEF tech trailblazer who is passionate about technology, she has developed projects such as Conecta Elas, an app that connects working women fluent in STEM subjects in Salvador with women looking for services, including teachers of math, physics, and technology, and hardware repair. You might notice that Louise looks a little bit familiar because we saw her present a little video for us a little bit earlier. All right, so now I'm going to pass over to Louise for our closing remarks. Thank you so much, Louise. Over to you.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be here and hear all of these inspiring speakers. Well, today I want to share a personal story with you. When I was younger, I was a very insecure child, but a teacher saw something in me that I couldn't see myself and invited me to go to a science fair where I fell in love with science and overcame several fears that I had, such as public speaking. However, unfortunately, many girls are not as lucky as I was to have a guiding figure like my teacher. And they often have a huge amount of potential, which does not come to light because they don't have access to opportunities to develop essential skills, such as STEM abilities, communication, or leadership. But I know that if we offer girls the chance to develop those skills, obviously with an approach that takes into consideration the particularities of girls in different places, those girls will flourish. They will become advocates for more than urgent and impactful change, not only in their own lives, but also in their communities. And one of the things we need for this to happen is to invest in initiatives that develop skills that empower girls, both socially and economically. With this, millions of girls will be more likely to, in the future, have decent jobs with a secure workplace and a fair income. My final message to all of you today is that I have faith in the potential of girls. Whether they are in an apartment in Brooklyn, in a house in Nairobi, in a houseboat in Mumbai, or in a salon in Rio de Janeiro. I have faith in every single one of us. And I hope that stakeholders and governments have it too, because now, more than ever, is the time to invest in us, in our projects, skills, ideas, and voices. Thank you so much.